What's up, everyone? Welcome to Backlog and Beyond, a podcast where we talk about the old video games we want to beat and the new ones we play instead. I'm your host, Jeff Zavatero.
And I'm your other host, Natan Hawkins. And this is episode 40. Isn't it 46?
Yeah, I didn't change it when I did it. I just changed it on mine, though.
46. It's all good.
Yeah. So,
What's up?
welcome to the episode. We originally were going to plan to talk about our experience with A Way Out. However, the day before the day the podcast dropped, Sony officially announced that they will be closing the stores.
Yep.
For the PlayStation Vita, the PlayStation Portable, and the PlayStation 3. So we thought we would take this episode to celebrate a console that we both owned, and actually we literally owned the same one,
Right?
the PlayStation 3.
That's true.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it is a console that we both loved, a console that I got the tail end of the life cycle of Nathan's, but
Right.
yeah, we both enjoyed it. We both got good experiences from it. So instead of saying necessarily games that are going away with the digital store forever that we loved, we're going to talk about our favorite PS3 exclusives that we loved, games that weren't updated to the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, games that weren't on the Xbox 360.
Right.
But you might be able to pick them up on a disc somewhere. And who knows, they might go up in value because you won't be able to purchase it digitally anymore.
Right? That's true.
Which would suck.
Which would suck.
Yeah. Yes. So, but first, before we do that, we're going to go into what we're playing. Nathan, what are you playing this week?
Didn't get a chance to play much, unfortunately. It was just kind of a crazy, weird week. But I did get to jump back into No Man's Sky on the PS5. It looks amazing with the upgrade that they've done. And I actually just started a permadeath series on YouTube. So if you want to go check that out, go to my YouTube channel. And that is just starting fresh, brand new save. Because I feel like the only way I'm actually going to play this game in any kind of length is going to need to have some kind of reason other than just me wanting to. So
Yeah.
I feel like documenting it is going to be a cool enough reason to document. And also the fact that it's permadeath makes it a little more exciting. So I'm going to at least play through the story in permadeath. And then we'll see. If I enjoy it, I'll probably just keep going and see how long I can survive on permadeath. So I'm
Do you
excited.
think you're going to make it that far? Like, I got killed constantly in that game.
I don't know. I think so. I think I tend to play a little more safe when I play those kinds of modes. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll have to be something really stupid. Like I'll have to get picked up by a tornado or something and get thrown, and then not time my jetpack right or something, or get thrown into a wall and like instantly die. So that'd be the only way. Some kind of, something just intervenes. But yeah,
that's
we'll
fair.
see.
That would suck,
yeah.
though. Like, you're right.
I'm so
Hey,
close.
everyone. Welcome to my What?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I jumped back in because I was like, I want to do a series on this, and then I tried to like start just to kind of get back into the controls. I died 5 times in permadeath before I could even get like sodium. I was like, holy shit! And eventually, I kind of figured out like how to just do it. So then, like my first episode of my permadeath playthrough was like solid because of 2 things. I knew what I needed to do. The other was I was lucky enough to land on a planet that was completely barren. So I was able to see like miles away and like see sodium from like far away without having to like scan it and figure out where it was. I was like, oh, there's sodium way over there. So it just made it a lot end
I'm going to make an account and find out where you are in the system and just show up and kill you.
I'd be so pissed.
The end of your series is me just like floating away.
Right? Oh my God. Oh, jeez. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm playing. That's
cool. Awesome. This week I finished finally Night in the Woods.
Nice.
I was stuck on chapter 3 for a little bit, and I was so into Hades that I kind of left it to be stuck. But once I got to a certain point in the story in chapter 3, you do something with like each of your friends individually, and then the whole rest of the story like super focuses. And
nice.
so I played the last like 3 hours, I think, in one sitting.
That's awesome.
And it was really good. The ending was very satisfying because the whole beginning of the game felt so open, and I felt the need to talk to everybody.
Right.
And there was a bunch of side stories that it wasn't like a side quest in the way that like it's a marker on the map. It's just stories that you happened upon, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, cool.
But once you got to a certain story beat in the main one, you kind of just focus on that for the rest of the game. And
Gotcha.
it was really engaging enough for me to keep going.
That's awesome.
Um,
Yeah, I want to get through that one eventually. I'm really looking
yeah.
forward to finally playing through that one at some
Yeah.
point.
But also, speaking of Hades, I got through it for the 5th time.
Nice.
So I'm
Wow.
halfway done to getting the full story.
God.
And to celebrate, I went in, like, Zanz and Zach were in there, and I'm like,
Nice.
I'm gonna try a new weapon. I got the machine gun, and I went in, and every boon I got sucked, and I hated the gun, and I was like, this is the first. I gave up. Like
Oh
you
man.
lose a whole attempt for giving up, but I got so bad. So I'm gonna go back to shield or spear. I did beat it with the spear, which was the first time I beat it with a non-shield, so I was pretty proud of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
I know. I'm playing later, so Alex and Clay can't watch me, so I miss the emotional support. But Zan's and Zach have been there, and they've been super dope.
That's awesome. They're good guys.
Yeah, they convinced me to stream Outlast. They're like, do it. I'm like, I don't
Dude.
want to. And they're like, but why not? We'll watch.
Have you started it yet? Because I was going to be one
No,
of my guy for
I'm
you.
gonna wait until I'm done with Hades.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'll wait till Halloween. Then they're like, the third one's coming out in Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you be ready for the third one by
Right.
Halloween?
Yeah. It was actually going to be one of my guys for you eventually, so
Okay.
you'll play it. You'll play it eventually anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I might
good
play
one.
it tonight after we're done with whatever we're doing, but we'll see.
Cool.
So yeah, I've only had time to play those two games this week, so it was really nice to knock out my 10th game, not including the demo I beat off
Right.
of my
Congrats.
backlog this year.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So next we're gonna move on to the news. Nathan, what do you got for news?
I don't got a lot, but just little exciting news for me was No Man's Sky dropped some new DLC. They're calling it Expeditions. Basically what it is it's like its own game mode. So on top of normal, survival, permadeath, they have this new game mode called Expeditions, where you all start on the same planet together. So everybody in the server starts on the same planet, and then you can all hook up with a bunch of people and go do these like expeditions. And then you get like rewards and patches and all this kind of cool stuff for doing like the expeditions together. So that dropped, which looks really awesome. But then they also added like a bunch of other things too. I can't think of all the other things that they added, but they added a bunch of other things. Also, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga has been delayed to spring 2021. They tweeted saying, "All of us at TT Games are working hard to make Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga the biggest and best ever Lego game, but we're going to need more time to do it. We won't be able to make our intended spring release date, but we'll provide updated launch timing as soon as possible." So, there you go. That's interesting how they said intended spring release date, but they said it's delayed to spring. So, that doesn't
to
make
me
any
it seemed
sense.
like it was delayed past spring, so maybe it's just
Maybe
weird in your head.
weird wording. I don't know, but yeah. So that's kind of a not a shocker. Obviously, I was really thankful to see that it wasn't delayed till next year because it's on my fantasy draft. So I was so thankful. I was like, no, stay in this year.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling it's going to score pretty well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So that was one of my news points I was hoping you'd hit. So that's
cool.
great.
Awesome.
Mine too was Cyberpunk 27, the AAA multiplayer game, was completely canceled.
Right.
Which was a surprise. That was something I was looking forward to playing in the universe, but they have so much to focus on.
God. They do.
That's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Then MLB The Show is being released day one on Xbox Game Pass.
And that's big.
So not only is a PlayStation, like someone posted the opening like thing for the trailer and it was like Xbox, PlayStation, and that was so weird to watch.
Right.
So not only is a PlayStation former exclusive showing up there by PlayStation Studios, but now it's going to be a Game Pass day one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's speculation that it's either going to be a PlayStation Plus game or they're going to throw it up on something like PlayStation Now, but like, that's hard to compete with. People bought PlayStation for that franchise.
A lot of people did.
PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Like that was the baseball game that you needed to play.
Right. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are also saying that Sony like had no idea. It's like, dude, they're the developer. I'm pretty sure, or the publisher. I'm pretty sure they had a hand in that deal for it to go on Game Pass. They saw the money they could make. They're like, sure.
I know, right? Like, why wouldn't? It's a good deal, but I think they're gonna want to compete with that, knowing that.
True.
So
true. That's a good point.
And plus, they've been doing day one releases for games once a month.
Mm-hmm.
like the new Oddworld Soulstorm is coming out this month,
Right.
and that came out. And Maquette was a day one release on PlayStation Plus.
Right. Right.
And then you had Bugsnax, Derby. It's not out of the question, but that would be the biggest game they've ever released day one if they do it.
For sure. Like, wow.
On
That's a
PlayStation
big
Plus.
move. Big
Yeah.
move.
I'd be stoked because I barely played last year's, but I'm super stoked for this next gen.
Yeah, it looks amazing. The new one looks
Yeah.
amazing. Like the graphics look really good. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Those are our news points for the month. And next, we're going to move on because it is the first week of April. We're going to move on to our April 2021 anticipations. These are games that are coming out this month that we want to play. I'm going to go with, I have three. One of them's the same as yours, so I'm just going to go with my two first.
Okay.
My first one is, of course, MLB The Show 21.
Nice.
I am jazzed for that game. I don't think I'm going to buy it day one because of how quickly the price goes down
Okay.
and the possibility of it being free.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah. And then I'm also excited for the new Pokemon Snap, which is coming out at the end of this month.
That's right. I saw that.
That is definitely on my list. Me and Emily only have to buy one because it's not multiplayer. So
Right.
we will definitely be picking that up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you? What are your games that you're looking for?
There was a few that I really more or less am calling them out because they looked cool. Because I probably won't be playing them, but they looked awesome. What the Dub, which is coming out the 8th. It's
that's
basically
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This looks awesome. Like I watched the trailer and everything. Basically, it's each player takes turns like overdubbing like missing dialogue from like awful B movies, like outdated PSAs. And it kind of reminds me of that one game mode from Jackbox.
Use your word. It was the use your words. Like I
Yes.
remember we played that, and I'm like, I wish there was a game that was just this part.
There you
This
go.
is that game. Like
The whole
I've never
game.
heard of it until I saw it on your list.
You're like, what is that? I'm like, it looks hilarious. So I'm like, that'd be so fun to play. Like
And
I think
everyone types in their answers, and the computer reads it for you. I thought that was so fun.
Yeah. So I think that one I would love to try because I think it's only on PC, but I'm not sure. But that one looks awesome. Then we have Ashwalkers, which actually I saw like a while back. I think it was Gamescom. It's coming out the 15th. It's a survival journey through a harsh world without rules or judgment. Only your choices matter in the face of moral dilemmas. Manage your party, food, and equipment in this non-linear narrative survival sim with 34 possible endings. I thought that was really
Dang.
cool. It's a lot of endings. But the art style looked really interesting. It's like kind of like a black and white looking game. But I just love survival games, and I like management style games too. So that one looks really cool. And then Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which is coming out the 22nd. You basically play as this little turnip guy, and you avoid paying your taxes by just solving like puzzles, I guess. And it's kind of like it looks like Stardew Valley, but almost like with shenanigans, kind of
Okay.
like a humorous version of Stardew Valley. So I don't know, but it look like you have like a little farm and you do all that stuff. But I guess apparently the vegetable is there's a vegetable government that's corrupt. So it just seems like really silly.
That's a good title.
Yeah, I know, right? So there's that, and then Returnal is coming out this month as well on the 30th. One thing that I found was interesting about this game is that no review copy so far has been sent out to any critic. The only critics that they've sent out any review copy to was themselves. So far, the only hands-on review is only from the PlayStation blog, which I think is a little sketchy. I'm almost wondering if
When
they're like
games
kind
do
of
that, it's
worried.
like you don't want anyone to cancel their pre-order. do you?
Right. They're like, I want to say they're almost like slightly worried that this game is not as good as they're expecting it to be, or maybe they're concerned that people it's not gonna, be as good of a launch. I don't know, but I just think that's a little weird that the only person that gets a hands-on review is the people who are publishing it. So a little weird. But anyway, that's also coming out.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't like that.
We'll see how it does.
So yeah, those are games that we are looking forward to. Of course, there's a much bigger list.
Oh yeah.
I actually had trouble finding a list that was as thorough as yours. Like none of the lists I found had What the Dub on it.
I'll send you a list that I go to every month.
All right, I'll put it on my bookmarks. Because yeah, I had no idea that game was happening, and now
Right.
I'm gonna buy it day one.
Nice. That's awesome.
Speaking of like buying games at full price, I've been working on my spreadsheet that I keep throughout the year.
That's right.
And now I found a way to automate it. So whenever I enter a game, it automatically populates my year total of like how much money I paid for it, how much money it
Oh.
cost, and then like how many games I paid full price for, how many of those games I actually played and beat.
Wow.
So it's when we get to the year end where I do my review, it's gonna be a lot easier
That's
to
awesome.
bust out all those numbers. And actually, I was asking you for all your account info because I wanted to do it for you too. And,
That's so cool.
yeah, I couldn't log into your PlayStation. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
have to try
That's
that
fine.
Yeah, so those are games we're looking forward to this week. So next we're going to move on to our main topic. And so we're going to be talking about games from the PlayStation Store, PlayStation 3 store that we loved and may never get another chance to play again because
Yeah.
Sony does not believe in preserving the history.
Kind of sad. Unless it did
But
really well.
going into all of the stores closing, someone made notes. Games that are disappearing with the PlayStation Store. These are exclusives. We're losing about 630 digital only Vita games, 730 digital only PlayStation 3 or PlayStation Network games, a small number of digital only PSP games, 293 PlayStation Minis, 336 PlayStation 2 Classics, and about 260 PlayStation 1 Classics.
That's well over 1,000 games.
Yep,
That's
and
insane.
Sony just believes that no one really cares about them.
Oof.
Yeah,
It's a big oof.
It sucks. It sucks, man. But we're gonna get through it. It's gonna happen.
Yep. Gotta rip it off like a
So
Band-Aid.
Nathan and I have both picked games from this era that we played, that we enjoyed, that we are sad to see go.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized since I was kind of late into the life cycle, I didn't play a ton of exclusives.
Oh, okay.
So I included one or two games that I'm going to miss out on.
Oh, wow, that's
To be
interesting.
included on this list.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So why don't you go first with your first game, Nathan?
Okay, cool. Well, I guess before I even jump into my list, I just kind of want to preface this whole thing by saying the PlayStation 3 was special to me. It was like a love-hate relationship, but mainly because it was the very first console that I bought with my own money. So nobody gifted this to me. I spent my own money, and I actually bought this at full price when it first launched, which was $700. And I got this on, it was like Home Shopping Television Network, so you could
QVC.
pay it in installments, or QVC. Yeah. So I bought it on QVC, got like paid installments of like 6 payments or something. And yeah, so it was special in that way, and also it was the worst because that thing crapped out on me 3 times, and I think that's the last one I gave you was the last one that survived.
Yeah, and it was a 60 gigabyte. It was like the backwards compatible one, which
Yeah.
is so hard to find now.
Right?
And I made it last as long as I could, but I got the yellow light of death.
I mean, that was the worst. The Yellow Light of Death was just the worst. But
It was
anyway,
so sad.
I loved PlayStation 3. There's so many good games. Anyway, so my first game I'm gonna shout out was Infamous. This was actually a Sucker Punch game. I loved this game so much. It had like a completely open world and had like a nice like kind of parkour way of getting around the city. The abilities were awesome because it was just all lightning, like all like powered through your like arms, and some of the way you would like the way you would like charge your body would look really badass. But a lot of it definitely reminded me of Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man games, because just of how epic some of like the moves were and the move sets and the powers. It just all felt very epic as
That's
you were
the same
using these
company,
powers.
right?
I thought Insomniac was Spider-Man.
I think Insomniac did Infamous, right?
No, Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch did.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It was
Yeah.
sorry. It was the Ratchet and Clank. I think originally the rumor was Insomniac, and for some reason, Sucker Punch, and it stuck in my head forever. So that makes sense.
But yeah, so it was a great game. It was, I think the best part about it though was the fact that you could choose to be good or evil as you played through the game. So depending on whether you were bad or good, the color of your electricity would change. So it would be like a red for evil, blue for good. And it was just awesome. But like all the battles were super epic. The story was fantastic. The side stuff was fun. Just such a really cool sandbox to play in. And yeah, I'm gonna miss that game.
Yeah, that was on my short list of games that I missed in this generation.
So good.
Yeah, like I even think I got Infamous 2 with PlayStation Plus, and like I started to play it and it was really cool, but I
Yeah.
wanted to experience the first one first,
Right.
and I never got the opportunity. So unless I could find it physically,
Yeah.
and hope that my disc drive stays working, or hopefully, even more hopefully, PlayStation 3 store has a sale and I could pick it up. Those are definitely games I want to experience before I try the ones that they released on the PlayStation 4.
It's $5 on eBay.
Oh, that's not bad.
There you go. Just
Yeah,
like
I
that.
still like my preference is always digital.
Of course.
So I'm hoping there's a good sale on there, but I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these you're gonna have to go physical. But I mean, eBay looks like it's really cheap, so
Yeah.
those
Okay.
prices might go up though once the digital store is no longer around.
I know, right? Like, so I'm trying to get all these by June because they
Oof.
close in July.
Yeah, July. That's right. Man.
All right. Cool. So the first game that I'm gonna have trouble saying goodbye to is Fat Princess.
So
Fat
good.
Princess is a multiplayer game for up to 32 players with the goal of rescuing your princess and bringing her back to the team's home base, which is a twist on Capture the Flag.
Nice.
This is a game I think I played with you several times, and I
Oh
ended up
yeah.
buying it for myself. And once you had your Xbox, we never played it again. But it's one of the first like team strategy games that I was
Mhm.
really into. You could be one of 6 character classes, and then there was more in DLC. It was like a really niche PlayStation Network game that a lot of people didn't get to play, but I really enjoyed it. Like I normally hate those kinds of games. Like I
Right.
won't even play Mario versus Rabbids.
Mm.
It just doesn't look like my thing. But
Yeah.
I definitely would be down for a new Fat Princess or this to be ported over in any way.
I forget wasn't the whole concept with like to feed the princess cake to get her so fat you couldn't carry her or something?
So yeah, like I think you had to do that to the other team's princess
That's right, because
so
they
that
had.
they had a harder time moving.
It was such a stupid game, but man, that was so fun. I think I played that thing for hours just because of how fun it was. Good
Yeah,
times.
that was dope.
Oh man. Uh,
What's your next one?
the next one I got is Metal Gear Solid 4. This one was great. This was like one of my favorite Metal Gear games because you play as Old Snake, so already like he's just more badass, I guess, for having gray hair.
Yeah.
But it's a great story too. It's so well done. Like all the characters are back, obviously, and just everything's so good. And I think they even had an option where you could switch from third person to first person. I think you could toggle between in
Oh, okay.
certain instances, which was really cool. But I think my favorite thing about Metal Gear Solid 4 was that they had an Octocam suit, I think it was called, and it would mimic any surface that you were
Oh, so you're
against.
like chameleon.
Basically, you go full chameleon mode with this suit, and it was such a badass feeling just to go completely invisible. It was so cool. But man, this also I think was one of the most challenging Metal Gear games for me. One of the most epic endings ever in a Metal Gear game for me as well.
Oh, I
Um,
remember when you told me.
yeah, dude, it is such an intense ending, and I think everybody that loves the Metal Gear Solid franchise needs to play this game before they move on to 5, obviously. But yeah, it was a great game. Playing as Old Snake's awesome. It's
That
badass.
is another game I never finished, and like I
Ah,
refuse to play it on PlayStation now. But
yeah, I know.
I do think I picked it up if I for the PlayStation 3, so it's there sitting on my console.
Nice.
But I do want to get like the whole. They had the whole Metal Gear Solid collection on that.
That's awesome.
So I definitely need to beat that one before I move on to 5 because I did beat 1, 2, and 3.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
I would definitely suggest it.
Awesome. The next game on my list was Pain.
Mm,
Pretty much my whole list is multiplayer games we played together.
good times.
Pain is a game where there was different environments and your character would be pulled back on a slingshot and you could aim where to throw them and your goal was to cause as much destruction to your character as possible. And they had different game modes, but ultimately it was like however many points you get is whoever wins. Like we played horse so many times. We played bowling with your characters. Some of the characters notably were Fat Princess,
That's right.
Daxter from Jack and Daxter, David Hasselhoff, Andy Dick, Elvira. Like they had so many like iconic characters in there, and they were all voice acted. It was a ton of fun. That was like one of my top 2 party games to go to when I had friends over, and
Yeah,
we would have 4 controllers, have a blast with that game.
it's a classic.
I
So
know. I
good.
like. I. It's not even on PlayStation now. I don't get it.
Yeah, because can you buy that one physical? Was that a physical
No, I don't
game?
think that was a. It was a digital only game.
Hmm.
And they had so much DLC for that game. There was so much. I'm gonna
That
have to buy the rest
sucks.
of it.
That sucks. Yeah, wow, that one's just gonna be gone forever.
Yep.
Damn.
And then once they shut down online servers, that game's like almost pointless.
Yeah, right? What is this? Wait a sec, hang on. Pain PS3 game used on eBay.
What?
That can't be real.
Let me see here.
I'm seeing a disc version of it. Whoa. They're charging 55. Someone wants 55 for it. Someone wants Australian 34.99. So that's 26
Oh,
bucks for
maybe.
US. That's not bad.
I guess it was on disc. I had no idea.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it also for $30. Oh no, that's the Pain video game PS3. What is that? Looks like they're using like the cover as like the PS3 console
Oh,
itself.
maybe like it came with specific consoles as a disc.
Oh, maybe. Wow.
Because that's all I'm seeing. Like the only cover I'm seeing, though, I think the two you're seeing on eBay.
Yeah. So you might be able to
And
grab it if you snag it now,
yeah, I do own it digitally, but I would be worried about losing it forever.
right? Just like for some reason, just like deleting and then screwed.
Yeah, I'm
That would
gonna have to
suck.
back up all my files on my hard drive too.
Be a good idea.
I'll have to download every game I own on there.
Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah,
All right.
Pain was my next one.
It's awesome. My next one was Resistance: Fall of Man. This was from Insomniac Games, which I didn't know until I just looked it up. I was like, what? It's basically a first-person shooter that takes place in an alternate 1951. So it's basically like if World War II, instead of against Germany, was against aliens. And you play as this guy, the Sergeant Nathan Hale. And I mean, I loved playing Uncharted because every time I'd be playing, to have Sully go, Nathan, and I'd be like, yes. And same thing with this game. Like, everybody was yelling out my name. I was like, this is badass. This is like immersive as hell, getting people calling out your name.
There's not many cool Jeffs in video games. It's always like, Jeff, stop shitting yourself. Like, that's the Jeffs in the game.
Jeff, you're an idiot. No, but
My
yeah.
dad was in that one, I guess.
But no, this is a great game. It was just really fun because like they had like replica guns from like 1951, but then they also had like futuristic weapons too, and they would have like different mechanics based on like different kind of grenades and rocket launchers and all kinds of crazy stuff, like different perks and styles. But what was really cool is you could actually use the 6-axis controller, some of the motion controls. So like if an alien would jump on top of you and would like grab on, you could shake your controller to get them to like shake them off or whatever. So you actually could use the motion controls, which was really fun.
Oh, cool.
They also had like, vehicles you could man and stuff like that. But it was just like a fun like story campaign to go through. I think they did like 2 more games after that one. And they also had like an online player thing as well. I don't think I ever played online, to be honest, on Resistance: Fall of Man, but it was like up to 40 players. So
Damn, like I feel like there was way more online back in the day.
yeah,
I mean,
no,
Fortnite's like 100, but like still.
right. Yeah, it's 100's a big difference. But yeah, so anyway, it was a fun game. I just really enjoyed it. I remember just loving it, and yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, awesome. The next one on my list, another one we all played together, Ragdoll Kung Fu.
So
it is
good.
available on the PlayStation now, but it is listed as single player only, and I don't know if that means couch co-op. But it would there was no point to playing that game single player, so I don't know what that means.
That's weird.
That was a game where it's the version Fist of Plastic, because there is a Steam game called Ragdoll Kung Fu, but
Right.
it seemed nowhere near the same thing.
Right.
But you're all action figures, and all of your joints only move in a specific range of motion.
Yeah, you're like marionettes basically.
Yeah, and so there's several game modes. Our favorite one was Capture the Flag, which a fish would pop up somewhere on the map, and it was your job to grab the fish and throw it in the basket, and whoever had the most fish in the baskets at the end would win.
Right.
And there'd be some levels where it was just sitting on the other side of the map, and we would all do these huge jumps, and then the other one would just hurdle a ninja star or a pole or throw their body in front of it.
Yeah.
That one was fun. And then there was another one, like the castle level, where the basket, the nest was at the sideways on the edge of the map, so you would pretty much have to kill yourself
Yeah.
to throw the fish into the basket. But then if you missed, it was for nothing, and
Right.
you have to go 5 seconds and miss the next fish.
Ugh.
Or someone would sacrifice themselves and throw themselves in
Yeah,
front of
yeah.
it to also die. I remember me, you, and Randall having so much fun playing that game.
Yeah, because it was great because you would, especially the fish one, you capture the fish, you would actually grab onto other players and hold on to them, and you'd end up flinging them towards bombs and explosions, and they'd go flying. Everybody go flying.
I forgot you could throw other people too.
Oh, you throw them at explosives, and it was so fun. And the music was fantastic too. Ragdoll Kung Fu. So good. Just such a good game.
Yeah, I would love to when we went on the bachelor trip, I wanted to get that game set up so badly.
That'd
Because
been
they
awesome.
had a PlayStation 3 sitting there. I'm like,
Oh
can I
yeah.
get the internet strong enough to download my PlayStation games? And we could not.
No, the internet sucked over there.
But one time I'll come visit and I'll bring the PlayStation 3 and we have to play.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so good.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. What's next for you?
Next one up for me is Warhawk. This one was a third-person multiplayer shooter. It was basically kind of like a stylized Battlefield game, but it was in third person, and it was like 32-player battles, 5 maps. But it was so cool because at any moment you could jump into a tank, or you could jump into a jeep or a fighter jet, and like basically any position you could think of, you could jump in. And I think you could like customize your patches on your like your name, so people could actually see your patches and like the badges you've collected. And it was based on like your kills and or your deaths or whatever. It was kind of like that, so people could see your badges, kind of like Call of Duty and Battlefield, all that stuff. But it was just so fun. I played that shit for like months straight, hours on end. They had capture the flag, they had deathmatch. I think like towards the end of that game's life cycle though, I was like top 5 every single time. I just remember loving defending the flag specifically because you'd have guys coming from all different angles, and I would just be sniping like on a hill from far away, just like aimed at the flag, and I would just take these guys out one at a time. And then once in a while it would get a little crazy because there'd be like a whole bunch of people swarming this flag. And I remember like taking out like tons of dudes one time with like rocket launchers because like a tank would pull up. I'd launch this rocket launcher at the tank would blow up, and then like 6 guys would be at the flag. I'd launch the rocket launcher, kill 6 dudes at once. It was such a good game, and it was just at any moment you could be fighting in a fighter plane, or you were just on the ground as a sentry, and it was just such a fun time. Like I'll just never forget that game. Just like the game design and like the look of it was so specific too. It almost kind of looked like cartoony slightly, but yeah, I'll just never forget that game. It was so fun. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I like that's a game that makes me want to get into that genre, but I know as soon as I pick it up, it'll be like the same for me.
Yeah, because it just eventually comes down to your skill level. Because like
Yeah.
you have to play that game for hours and hours and hours to get good at it, and then once you are, then it's like cool. But if you're just trying to just jump in just to play a shooter, you're gonna get creamed. It just sucks.
I'm used to it. Awesome. So I'm cheating a little bit because I did run out of PlayStation 3 games that I enjoyed. So I'm gonna go name a PlayStation Portable game. I bought a PlayStation Portable for Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII,
Oh
which
wow.
is the prequel game based on the character Zack.
Okay.
That is that Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is
Right.
related to.
Okay.
I picked up that game. I played through the whole story. I tried to hack my PlayStation Portable to work for Nintendo games,
Oh
and then
man.
I never touched my PlayStation Portable again. Like that was
That
the
sucks.
only console seller as far as I was
Oh
concerned. It was
damn.
a satisfying story. It was a lot more linear than a lot of games are. I think because I think Final Fantasy started to open up by that point, but
Gotcha.
yeah. By that point, they had, I think, already Dirge of Cerberus for the PlayStation 2, which I wasn't really into because I wasn't a big Vincent fan.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so this was like my first like footstep back into that world, and it did not disappoint me. I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Zack was a strong protagonist, and you still got the cool Buster Sword. That's all you need. It's so satisfying.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good times.
So that was my PlayStation Portable
Cool.
memory.
I didn't have any PlayStation Portable memories, but so my last game was SOCOM Navy SEALs Confrontation. Just like Warhawk, I played this game I think for almost an entire year nonstop. Loved the hell out of this game. It was purely online. They had quite a few maps too, so it was awesome in terms of like the variety of maps. But I think the reason why I love this game so much because it was just so realistic and type of like in terms of the immersion factor that they put into this game. Because it was very hardcore in the sense that if you got shot like 2 or 3 times, you were dead. And it really came down to not necessarily skill level, but it came down to communication. It came down to teamwork and just playing it really slow. Like people took their time. If you knew what to do, you would take your time playing this game and just go slow and move as a team and communicate. There was just no run and gun bullshit because it was you got shot and you were dead basically.
Yeah.
So they had games like Defuse the Bomb. They had escort missions. It was just so fun. But I made so many friends playing this game. So many friends. I even joined teams like through forums, and we had we actually competed. We competed with other teams around the world, and man, we'd have like weekly practice nights. We'd all like practice together and just run. We'd run routes and everything and just practice different tactics. And man, I'll just never forget this game. Now the only issue with this game, this thing was buggy as hell. crashes. It crashed all the time. It got mixed reviews because of that. There was a lot of just buggy shit going on, but man, I don't know. I think despite all that buggy crap that happened, I loved it so much. Another reason why I loved it too is because it had proximity chat. And I think I've mentioned this story before, but one time
Yeah.
I was holed off in this building, and these two guys were coming up on me, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna charge the room on the count of 3." And I like pull out a grenade because I hear them clearly talking through the walls. And they said 1, 2, throw a grenade, 3, and they kept charging in, and they just both died, and we won the whole game because they were stupid enough to like yell. And it was crazy because the sound design was awesome because it actually sounded like they were muffled through the wall, or like if he was in a room, you'd actually hear like the echo from like the reverb of the walls from their
That's pretty cool.
conversation. So it was an awesome game. It's just it was so glitchy, and eventually I just kind of fell out of it, and our group disbanded. But I think one of our group's name was SMG, which stood for Seriously Magnificent Gentlemen.
God.
It was, and I would sing what was that one song? Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. That song?
Why?
Because we'd troll people. So like they'd be like holed up in a building, and I'd just be singing that super loud. It'd be like, shut the fuck up. It was good times. It was so good.
Awesome.
I'll never forget that game.
Awesome. For my last game, I picked a game that I might never get to experience with the loss of the PlayStation 3 store again. I know this one's available on disc, so I do have a chance at playing it eventually. But Puppeteer. Puppeteer was always a game I wanted to play. It's a side-scrolling platformer in which the player controls the character Kutaru, a boy changed to an animated puppet and immediately decapitated. Throughout the game, Kutaru obtains various heads to replace his own, each enabling access to certain animations and referring to the adjacent scenery.
Wow.
So if you're damaged by an enemy or obstacle, your head falls off and you have a couple seconds to get it. And if not, you lose that head forever and you have to grab one of the up to other 3 heads you're holding.
Holy crap.
And if you lose all of your heads, you have to go to the last checkpoint. So like those are your lives.
How did I not hear
the
about
heads
this
that
game?
you're holding with them.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
a very it was a PlayStation Plus game, but it was like a very small independent game that not a lot of people played.
That's really dope. That's badass.
Yeah. So I always wanted to give that game a shot. It's one of the first games that came up whenever people were talking about how much they miss a PlayStation 3.
Right.
And it's definitely a game I want to go back to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Puppeteer. Damn, that sounds hardcore and brutal. I love it.
I know, but it's like this super cartoony game, so it's like
That's
very
awesome.
light. But
Okay.
it's like you think about it and you're like, he lost his head.
Yeah, now just add it with like realistic graphics, and it just immediately turns into a rated M for mature.
I'm just picturing like Limbo, where you had that kid like getting violently
Right?
impaled by the spider.
Dude, if there wasn't like a lot of like shadow and like muted colors, like game would have been way more than just like M for mature. That'd have been like not rated. This
For
game
sure.
is not rated.
Yeah, so that's my list.
Cool.
So those are the games that we missed from that era. I have kind of a list here of games that were well received for the PlayStation 3 but haven't been remastered for the PlayStation 4. So these are games that you're going to have a harder time playing.
That's good. Good list.
If you only have the PlayStation 4 or later. The original Demon Souls, Fat Princess, God of War Collection, which has 1 and 2, or the Origins Collection, and then the prequel they made, Ascension, Gran Turismo 5 and 6, Hot Shots Golf, Out of Bounds, Ico.
Oh, yeah, Ico. That's
Ico,
available,
yeah.
I think, on PlayStation 4 right now, actually. I think that was...
Yeah. The Killzone games, Little Big Planet 1 and 2,
Okay.
and Karting, Motorstorm,
Another
PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Prince of Persia HD Trilogy, the Jak and Daxter HD Trilogy, the Ratchet and Clank HD Trilogy, along
Wow.
with Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, A Crack in Time, Full Frontal Assault, Into the Nexus, Sly Cooper Collection, and then Thieves in Time, SOCOM 4. There are Twisted Metal. There are so many games that people are going to have a much harder time accessing because PlayStation does not believe in preserving the past. That is something that Xbox gets full credit for.
Yeah,
And
hands
almost
down.
makes me want to pick up an Xbox, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. I totally agree. I think it's kind of it's sad.
it's
I mean,
short-sighted.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you really do want those games, I feel like you'll find a way to find them or get them, get your hands on them, at least physically. I feel like preservists in general, though, they tend to hold on to those things anyway, so they never lost them to begin with, or they
Yeah.
don't buy digitally in the first place.
But like there's something
Um,
to be said about the digital collection. Like I know
totally.
you're purchasing the rights to play it in that moment,
Right.
but they need to like if they're truly for the gamers. I realize it's a company, but if
Yeah.
like they claimed to be for the gamers, I think PlayStation 4 was a major step in being for the players, but now they're
Right.
back to being like all about the money.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think like what's funny is they really need to change their motto. Like, play has no limits, my ass. Play
Play
has no
has
limits
limits.
unless you want to go back far enough. Then you're limited. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough thing. I feel like though, just to kind of like tell everybody and ahead of time, if you want to preserve anything, make
Yeah.
sure you have it physically because nobody gives a shit about what you want. They are gonna do what they're gonna do, and the only way to preserve anything is to have it and to be able to hold it and look at it and touch it, and that's the only way you can have for a surefire way of keeping the
But
games that you want to keep.
disk drives fail, discs break.
Of course,
You
of
can
course they
lose
do.
discs.
Of
Like
course,
there's
yeah,
they just I don't see the issue. I don't understand why PlayStation 3 games like they had 7 years to figure it out for the PlayStation
right,
5.
yeah,
I understand it not working for the PlayStation 4. It was different,
right.
but
Yeah, I
it
think it
makes
was
me
something about
mad.
like somebody was saying like how they're getting rid of all these games because of like space. I'm like, I doubt it's that. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, our terabyte drives are up. I guess we'll have to just say goodbye to the PlayStation 3 digital store. I don't know. I don't think it's that, but who
I'm
knows?
like the fact that people get to download the game still that they own anyway, like you're still storing them. They're still there.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, weird stuff. I did have a couple of lists if we were pretty much gonna move on to the next
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, we're going to move on to games after our game when
Cool.
you're done with this. So go
So
ahead.
I wanted to shout out like the top 10 games on PSP and PS Vita because we weren't really covering those. So I didn't play a PSP or a PSP Vita. I didn't have either of those consoles. But I at least wanted people to be aware of like the top 10 games according to Metacritic. So if they did want to get their hands on them, these were some of the best games on these platforms. So you should probably go grab these physically if you can. So this is for I think this is PSP. This is the PSP. So starting at number 10, we had Ridge Racer. Number 9, Tekken Dark Resurrection. Number 8, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Number 7, Final Fantasy Tactics The War of the Lions. Number 6, Wipeout Pure. Number 5, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Number 4, I think it's Lumens. I think it's Lumens. Number 3, Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3 Portable. Number 2, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. And number 1, God of War Chains of Olympus. So those were the top 10 PSP games according to Metacritic. And then these are the top 10 games according to top 10 Vita games according to Metacritic. So we had Final Fantasy X, but it was like was it 10-2 HD remaster? It was number 10. And then we had number 9 Velocity Ultra, number 8 Tearaway, number 7 Rayman Legends, number 6 Guacamelee, number 5 Little Big Planet PS Vita, number 4 Rayman Origins, number 3 Spelunky, number 2 Velocity 2 times, and number 1 Persona 4 Golden. So there you go. Just wanted to quickly shout those out in case people were not aware of those.
They have since released Persona 4 Golden on Steam, so that's nice.
Yeah, Guacamelee's on Switch and PS4.
Guacamelee's on everything.
Guacamelee's on everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guacamelee's
Maybe it was
great.
just back on at the time.
Probably. But yeah, those
I
are the
even
top
think
10.
they released like Stardew Valley back on that console.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Great. So we're going to move on to our game. Today we're going to be playing Gameagories.
My least
so
favorite
we're going to
game.
need Emily on mic for this. Emily, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can you get a little bit closer to your microphone?
Yes, is that better?
Yeah, that is better. It's less echoey. So what's going to happen is Emily's going to pull a category, and then she's going to set a timer that she's going to have to keep restarting for about 7 seconds. And then once we're given a category, me or Nathan will name a game from that category, and we're going to go back and forth naming games from that category until one of us runs out of ideas. The catch for us, or one of the rules for us, is we can only do like a franchise at a time. You can't do like God of War 2, God of War 3, God of War Ascension. It's once you say God of War, that franchise is accounted for. since it's not going to be per point per answer, we're going to do 5 points if you win.
Okay.
5 flat points.
5 flat.
5 flat. What are the other rules? I think there are other rules to this one. If we challenge the game, like if Nathan says a game that I don't think fits in that category, we're gonna go to chat, and Emily is the judge, and whatever chat decides wins. So if they decide Nathan was right and I was wrong to challenge it, Nathan wins by default. Or if they decide Nathan's answer was faulty, then I win.
Then I win.
Then the correct player wins.
The correct player wins.
All right, so Emily, put the games into the randomizer, and then when you're ready with the timer, read us the top one.
All right, your first category is open world games.
Oh, crap.
Didn't we have that one last time?
Is that what we did last time?
I think it was. I think it was open world, and I failed miserably because it was my genre.
Okay, Emily, can you pick another one? Because Nathan thought we did this one.
Yes.
You can even go with number 2 if you want, or re-randomize it.
Okay. New category is simulators.
Okay.
The Sims.
SimCity.
Damn it. Video Game Tycoon.
Flight Simulator.
I should be much better at this game. Euro Truck Simulator.
I guess Train Simulator.
Yeah, I'm out. Oh my god, that one was hard. You get the 5 points for that one.
Yeah, there's a whole
I didn't
whole
challenge it.
series.
Roller Coaster and Zoo Tycoons. Those would have been good answers.
Although technically, you could argue a lot of survival games are Sims as well because they're considered survival Sims. So you could.
That's true. That could have been.
So the
Goat
forest
Simulator is not a simulator. Surgeon Simulator would count.
Surgeon Simulator. Yeah, that's technically
Goat
a sim.
Simulator does not simulate what it's like to be a goat.
Oh man.
Thank you for waiting until one of us lost, Clay, because I was I just had chat up, and when I couldn't think,
I
I just
didn't think about
instinctively
that.
just look at chat, but I don't I
didn't think about that.
My wife is wrong. She is wrong. I would have challenged that answer.
Oh my god.
Great. So that's a game. Nathan got 5 points. He revealed the score last week, and I was actually getting kind of close, and so that's upsetting.
I'm sorry.
I think I could have overtaken him.
You would have.
Yeah. So that sucks. I got to do really good next time. Great. So that's it for our game. We're going to move on to the segment Give It an Hour. Nathan and I both played Disco Elysium, the final cut. We shared our videos on YouTube. And even though we played the same game, it looks like we had very different experiences, which could be a plus for the game.
Totally.
Nathan, tell me about your thoughts on Disco Elysium, the final cut.
So the opening was really cool. The writing is just very poetic. And I love that. I love how I don't know, it's just very different. You don't come across a lot of games that are very poetic in the way that they're spoken.
Yeah.
And just, of course, the voice acting was the first thing to pop out. I was like, damn, this is some good acting. Immediately, the lead actor is fantastic, but then the narrator is just amazing. I just immediately went back to Hades and was like, I loved Hades' voice acting, and this narrator just gives me that same vibe. I just love his voice. It's just so warm, and comforting, but it's also I don't know, not cynical, I guess, but also condescending sometimes. But I love that. The art style looks like a painting. I love that. It's almost like watercolors, or somebody just mixed a bunch of just smudged a bunch of paint strokes together. So the art style is really cool. But yeah, again, I watched your video, and I obviously remember my playthrough, and they were just so different. You took different directions. I had different conversations. At one point when I was speaking to the manager in the restaurant, he said I owed him, it was $100 or whatever. And I was like, I don't know, you shit. And I took the option of trying to run away. He does
so did Emily.
He does the whole thing where he just dips out and just does a spin around double middle finger. And like the choices for the dialogue are like, that lady in the wheelchair is right behind me, isn't she? And also, why did I have to do double middle fingers? It just but yeah, just like even the gameplay, like just being able like the D&D style of the dice roll stuff, that's really cool. Yeah, it's just really well done. I love the music. I love the genre in general, and I'm definitely gonna add this to my backlog, like 100%. Like it's just well done on all fronts, and it did so well too with critics. Like they basically said it was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Which was a
I,
great
I
game
get
to
it.
begin
Like
with. So
last year's BAFTA, it swept in the way, like I think more so than Hades did this year.
yeah.
Like this was that game that got celebrated and raised its status.
Hmm.
And like you, I absolutely see why. They're like, I can't see how people like played this game without voice acting. Like
Oh
at
my
the time, that's
god.
all they had, and the storytelling was great, but the voice acting is like it cements it. It's like it seems like it was the piece of the puzzle that was missing. I think
Right.
hopefully that is what brings people to experience this game.
Right.
It's very dark. It's very terrifying.
Hmm.
Emily, like her playthroughs on Twitch, and we're gonna upload it to our YouTube channel once we get an opening. But like,
Nice.
spoiler, she died like
What?
within it, like within her first playthrough, she died, and like she's like, I
Damn.
guess that's it. And like, I don't know if that means she has to start over,
Oh my god.
or what, but
That's
like that was the end of
crazy.
her playthrough.
So it just end. So you didn't actually like to look see if like you could just continue from where you left off, or
Yeah, no, we have. She's like, I guess I'm done for the day. Stop playing.
let me look it up right now because I'm curious. But keep going as I look this up.
Sorry, it was losing his mind, but like like
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. Interesting.
yeah. But there's probably ways to like lose, and hopefully I don't know if that means all progress. So that's what you're looking up right now.
Yeah. So I'm looking up. Here we go. So I'm on Steam page, and somebody said, I was about 8 hours in when I finally went to talk. I'm not gonna try to do spoilers. On the one hand, although, so I have my save files that just doesn't seem true to the developer's aim. In a pen and paper RPG, when you're dead, barring resurrection by other party members. And I'm the kind of weirdo who plays a game on permadeath where possible even. Oh, so. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I guess he just lost some things,
Oh,
but you don't die permanently.
but like losing your mind.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll have to look that up and talk about it next time.
Yeah, but anyway, I watched some of your playthrough and I loved how like the Thai started talking.
Yeah.
I was like, what? The Thai talks? Like my Thai never talks.
Because I did like the psyche one, like the
Right.
And like the charismatic one.
Right.
And so it's interesting how it really affects how your character like interacts and some of the answers you can do.
Totally.
And then I imagine I wanted to go find my shoe, so I think I went off on a different direction looking for it and realized it was where I was supposed to go the whole time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was an extremely unique experience. I
Totally.
love like the rolling for initiative and like
So cool.
all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I played the Thinker. I was like, because I didn't what I was kind of upset because I saw your playthrough. And I was like, oh damn, like it was so in depth, like all the different like choices, like all the different statistics based on each perk or whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
if I would have read that, I probably would have customized mine as well. But I was just like, let's just go straight Thinker. So I went full on intelligence and like people. I didn't care about people. It was like very just cold, very asshole. And I was just like, okay, let's try this. And it was actually really fun. But I was able to, like at the, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it, but like basically at the part where the guy's hanging, you see that there's footprints or whatever at one point. But I was able to figure out how many footprints there were exactly, and
Oh.
even down to their size.
And yeah, like my character was not able to do that.
Oh,
And
wow.
I didn't realize if you play the odds and you're wrong, you lose morale, and that's how Emily ended up losing her mind.
Oh, interesting.
If you take enough chances and they don't pay off, depending on what kind of build you have, I think it can go faster or slower.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's $32 right now on the PlayStation Store, and I think it is across the board. Like if you have PlayStation Plus,
Gotcha.
it is a game I think everyone should pick up and experience.
Definitely.
I don't know if there's a demo, but I hope there is, because find a way to play it.
Yeah, I think there is. I don't know. I looked into that.
Excellent storytelling. Like, I was creeped out and I laughed several times.
It was so good.
Like, I think you went back to the bartender. No, the guy you called a bartender. And
yeah, who's actually the manager?
Like, the man with the weak beard. Like,
he just had like patchy stubble all over his face. It was so good. Yeah, no, the dialogue and the writing is so well done. Like, that's something that just definitely wants me to continue going for sure. But the fact that we had such different playthroughs and the outcomes were so different, and just the detail that they went into some of like the detective work, I was like, oh fuck, I gotta play this game. Like, I love detective games, and I'm all for this one. Hands down.
The characters were also strong. Like, Kim was so intimidating. Kuno was a dick. Like,
I love his.
Alex texted like about when I tried to punch Kuno and I missed I didn't roll well enough and I just landed on my ass.
Oh my god.
He was so like, and whoever the girl was across the fence was even worse than Kuno. Like, I felt like I could have gotten through to Kuno, but don't listen to the pig, Kuno.
See, I didn't actually get to any of those people. I literally talked to the manager, the woman at the chair, in the wheelchair, and that was it. And we went to the back. We just went straight to the back because they said...
Dang, so yeah, I went out to the bookstore, which Emily did, and then she had a conversation with a man I never met, and I tried not to really pay attention.
Yeah.
Except like for minor stuff, because I want to experience it for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw you like went a totally different direction. Like, you talked to different people in the streets, and I was like, what the hell? Like, we went completely different directions.
And things were so detailed. Like, I didn't feel like I was supposed to be in the bookstore yet. Like, I feel like that's going to be part of it later, but like, I experienced it early and it didn't stop me from doing it just because I wasn't supposed to be there yet.
Right.
So, and Alex brought up the point when I left the bookstore, it was daytime. So I think it started like earlier in the morning and time moves.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's really interesting. If we didn't commit to Spiritfarer and moving on, this would definitely be the next game that I'd put on my backlog.
Yeah.
Like, this would move to the front of the line, but because I want to kind of keep on par with you, I'm going to do Spiritfarer at the same pace, but maybe I'll play Disco Elysium at the same time if I can get 2 games going.
Yeah.
But I do want to beat Hades before I do any of that.
All right. Oh my God. Stack
I don't
yourself.
want to be doing 3 games. So I think I'm going to do Hades and Spiritfarer.
Nice.
And then I'll throw in Disco Elysium when I get through 10 runs of Hades.
Good stuff. Yeah, I don't see a demo for Disco Elysium, unfortunately. It looks like they had reached back out to somebody on Steam back in 2018 saying we're trying to get one by summer, but I don't know whatever happened to that, so didn't really follow up. But whatever. Either way, I'd say it's definitely worth it regardless. If you like click and point adventure games and you like a detective game, you're going to love this game. Yeah, like, I've barely touched the surface of this game and I already know I'm going to love it. So.
Yep. I do wish it was a little more fast moving sometimes because like it's frustratingly slow.
Yeah, luckily
like,
he doesn't like hobble the whole time. I was like, is he gonna hobble like this the whole time? I was like, okay, good. He actually runs.
Yeah,
he jogs.
Like, I got to the point where I know you can click and he gets there eventually, but I would eventually just hold the mouse and lead him the whole time. Yeah,
that's great.
So that was our Give It an Hour. So instead of doing like a conventional Give It an Hour for next week, we're going to be talking about It Takes Two on our next episode for sure this time. And in the meantime, we're going to be starting our new playthrough of, I said It Takes Two and not A Way Out.
You meant A Way Out.
we're going to talk about A Way Out next week. And then
right.
Tonight, we're going to play It Takes Two, which we're going to give our first impressions on for our Give It an Hour next week.
Right.
So our last episode of A Way Out is already posted. Check out that series on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
And this upcoming Wednesday, you can check out our first episode of our It Takes Two playthrough.
That's right.
And we'll talk about our thoughts on our first playthrough next week.
Woohoo! Excited.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for coming out. If you want to find me, right now I'm twitching on Adventure Hawkins, but I will be moving over to Zabadabadoo for my next playthrough. You can also find me on that on Instagram and Twitter. Nathan, where can they find you?
You find me on all the social medias at Adventure Hawkins, except with Twitter, it's Adventure with the E, and that's because they don't have more than enough characters for me to fit the E in there. Clay was like, Nathan, Adventure Hawkins is available on Twitter. I was like, I know.
It's because no one can claim it.
Because no one can claim it.
I just thought of another place.
It was so nice of
him,
him, though.
We could have played when you got that the Naughty Bear game. I thought that
Dude,
game looked so fun.
Naughty Bear, man. Oh, I missed that game so much. That's one I should have brought up on PS3.
Yeah, that was a dope one.
Oh, so good.
By the way, you can catch Emily on Twitch now. She is sometimes switching Spiritfarer. Sometimes she's playing what's that game that we just played? Disco Elysium.
Disco
She
Elysium.
might do some of our Give It an Hour with us.
Cool.
Catch her on there. Pokestar Wins. She's also that on Twitter and Instagram, but you're probably not going to catch her on there. Like, I send her memes all the time, and she checks like once every 3 weeks.
So don't go there.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you all so much for coming out and listening to another episode. Shut up, Alex. Don't give me crap for that. Nathan, hit me with your joke.
All right. So I got a parking ticket for being parked illegally the other day, and I have no idea why. The sign clearly said fine for parking.
That was a good one.
Thanks.
That, like you said it so conversationally. It's like you practiced the delivery before you got here.
Dude, I practice the delivery every night now.
That's how you get me.
Exactly.
You
At
deliver
least
it
most of
real
the time,
good.
that's how I get you.
You
Not
do.
every time, but
You like
anyway.
jumped in like you had a real story.
All right.
Fine for parking.
Acting. 5, 6, 7, 8.